That has to be understood.
Absolutely correct.
Secondly, I think the United States and NATO have to understand that it's a multipolar world. They have their spheres of influence in terms of security. Other nations also have it. You have to understand this. NATO has expanded towards the east to the borders of Russia following the German unification and has expanded relentlessly. 14 countries. Please bear in mind the manner in which this has unfolded. Not that I am condoning the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but you have to understand the background. 14 countries have joined NATO. NATO is not a democratic club. NATO is a military and security grouping which can be hostile to other countries which are opposed to it. Therefore, when 14 countries joined NATO, countries which were earlier in the sphere of security influence of the Soviet Union, like Hungary, Poland, Romania, and the Baltic states joined NATO, I suppose they should have anticipated that Russia, as one of the powers in a multipolar world, will at some point draw a line against a military and security grouping that is hostile to it. I think the last frontier was perhaps reached in Ukraine, especially after 2014, when there was a regime change in Ukraine. A certain leader who was at the helm was toppled and a pro-West leader was brought in. And Ukraine was on the verge of becoming part of NATO, right in the underbelly of the Soviet Union, of Russia now. So you have to bear in mind that the United States and NATO have to understand the limits of unilateralism and how far they can push Russia in this matter. Thirdly,
incredible. Incredible.
Yeah,
Mr.
thirdly,
Verma.
I think
Yes, go on. Sorry. Please continue. Please complete. Yeah.
No, just a last point, and I will come in again if you like. Thirdly, the United States must understand what are the consequences of its action in the provocation that has led to this unfortunate invasion against Ukraine. It has shown other countries the way to act in their own security interests or in pursuit of their global ambitions, fully aware that the United States and NATO, when it comes to the crunch, will not put boots on the ground. So it has emboldened, in one way, other forces like China. And you have the situation of China and Taiwan. China has 200,000 troops massed on our borders. It has already moved into certain areas of India. We have tried to repulse it and probably have, but there is the Chinese threat to India. There is the Chinese threat to Taiwan. There is the Chinese ambition to be a global power. There is the Chinese shadow on the Indo-Pacific. You must accept that there has to be a global order which is multipolar, and the United States and NATO are entitled to protect their spheres of security interest like other nations have. And as far as last point, and I'll finish in 30 seconds.
I think so.
India, what does India do? When China invades India, did the United States stand with us? Did NATO stand with us? When India became a nuclear power, and we are very happy that we did in order to protect our interests, did not Ukraine completely condemn us in the Security Council? So we want the war to stop. We want a cessation of hostilities. We want a situation of dialogue, much as what the Prime Minister has conveyed to President Putin between the warring forces. We want restoration of peace and normalcy. But India must also look to see what its own interests are. And therefore, while
I agree with you.
Sympathize with the Ukrainians. I think we need to put a little perspective on this entire matter.
Okay. I think you put it very, very strongly, and you've raised the debate beyond the immediate to the larger issue.